Hi everybody. I've been getting a lot of questions lately on how to build direct connected type of steering, the quick ratio lock to lock steering. So I thought I'd do a quick video tutorial showing it. We'll start right at the top. I'm still running the stock steering wheel. Underneath this cover, I just ran a shaft through, I don't know if you can see underneath there, there's a greasable bushing. The shaft runs down through the frame of the mower. Comes out the bottom here. There is a pillow block style bearing above this to hold it, keep the flex out of it. It does still flex some. It's only a 1/2 inch shaft. Probably should have went 5/8 shaft. That's what I would recommend. Then there's just basically a bell crank arm here, connected by a tie rod to an L-shaped bell crank at the front. So as you turn the wheel, it pushes or pulls this tie rod onto the bell crank, which causes a rotation of it and moves your tie rods up and down, or side to side. So fairly simple and straightforward. The only thing I would recommend with this style of a setup, turn this around if you can. If you can possibly get this the other way, to get perfect steering geometry, as your steering wheel goes to full lock, you want your tie rods to be basically totally in line with the axle. So this one, when you turn, they actually move a little bit further away from the axle, causing a little bit of incorrect steering geometry. For the dirt tracks we race on, it's fine. I do get a little bit of tire scrub in the corners, but it's not too big of a deal. Looking at the front end here, we'll zoom in on the spindle. You can see some fairly radical caster and camber in this steering setup. Camber, this is your kingpin that your spindle turns on. Camber is how much angle you have, basically how far out the bottom of the kingpin is in relation to the top. Caster is referred to both positive and negative, from straight up and down. If the bottom of your kingpin is pointing forward, that's considered to be positive caster, and that's what you want. If it's straight up and down or pointing backwards, what happens when you get into speed, you end up in a speed wobble. The other thing we'll talk about quickly is Ackerman angle. If you drew a line between the center of your kingpin and the center of your tie rod bolt, it should point at the center of your rear axle in order to give you exact steering geometry. That, without going into a long-winded explanation, it'll make your outside tire in a turn with less angle than your inside tire. So then your wheels follow the same, or they follow different arcs, so your outside wheel's not turning as sharp as your inside wheel. Now, when you build the spindle, you pretty much have to build them on the mower, unless you have adjustable caster and camber, taking it into account so that your center that your bearings ride on still sits flat. That should sit completely perpendicular or level with the ground. Also, what that does when you turn, when your wheel turns, the inside tire goes back, and because of the angles, it also goes down. That unloads the inside wheel in a turn. Now, if you're running a solid axle, that's pretty critically important to getting around the corners properly, getting your axle to turn, get your inside wheel to slip. And if you're in a faster machine or a higher horsepower machine or looser terrain, that'll also help you get into a bit of a drift with the back end. So hopefully that was a little bit of further information to go with all the build pictures and explanations on my Facebook page, Lawn Mower Fanatics. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Thanks.